So we're going to make one of these, and this is just one hinge, and you've got a 1/4 inch on one side and 3/4 of an inch on the other. So we're going to make another one of these, so I'm going to take you through the process. So on the, yeah, here we go. I did. I put the tape initially on the wrong side, so I went ahead and put the tape on the other side, but I forgot to take these ends off. Come on. So much going on today, and that my little doggy been driving me nuts. So I can't keep my mind on focused. Focus. Okay, let me just get this off. Sorry. All right. It wants to really stick for me now. There we go. Okay. Doing its job the way it should. All right, so you want to do both sides, and then I didn't do this side, and the top and bottom. So you just, it doesn't have to overlap on the top and bottom. If it does, just pull whatever is on the bottom off first, and then reseal down the top piece, and then pull the backing off, and that way you won't have a weak spot, if that makes sense to you. I hope it does. Okay, so I actually made these. This one is 3 inches by 9 3/4. Okay, this one is like 1/8 of an inch shorter, so I made sure it's not going to hang over on the edges. You could even make it a little smaller because it would make it easier to put on, but that's fine. However you want to do it, you could make it 2 3/4, and it'll still work for you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take off our tape backing. I'm going to rescore that little corner down. No, that didn't catch. There we go. Just rip it. Rescore this down because it was overlapping. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to put my glue. Remember, this is what's going to hold a bunch of stuff, so don't skimp. And if you need to, you can put some dots, like just at least on the side that you're going to start. You might want to put some glue just right down at the beginning so it doesn't grab your paper, and you can actually kind of run it back and forth. There we go. And then just keep it. If any comes off, if it starts going crooked a little bit, you can adjust it a smidge as you're going, but if any hangs off, all you have to do is trim it. Make sure that score tape is getting on really well. Now, I know I have my score tape on, but I told you that I started on the incorrect side. It would be better to not have your score tape on here just yet, because you have to fold, especially on the 1/4 inch side. It makes it a little difficult. I did it and it was fine, but it would be easier without the score tape on the one side. Okay, so now we're going to the scoreboard. And, oh, I have a little bit hangover on this edge. I'm going to cut it off. It's easy as that, guys. Easy as that. And you got anything hanging on either end, just cut it off. Okay, so we're going to put this in our scoreboard. Oops. We're going to score at 1/4 inch. Oops. This is through that score tape, so it does make it a little more difficult. So make sure you've got that in there nicely, because you want a good score line there. And then 3/4. And then 1 1/4. And then 1 3/4. And 2 1/4. All right, so that is 1/4, 3/4, 1 1/4, 1 3/4, 2 1/4. And then just flip it over. And, well, I mean, if you got the long one, then you don't have to do this. I don't know if it's laziness or not. I'm just not grabbing my big one. Just not doing it. Not doing it. Okay. So, now, there's not all of them do you want to fold. The first fold you want to do from the 1/4 inch side, you want to count to the third one. 1, 2, 3. This is the top of your hinge. Make sure you're matching on both sides, and then give a really nice burnish on that score line. There we go. And then on the very last score line, where you have 3/4 of an inch, you want to go ahead and fold that. Make sure it matches up on both sides and give it a good burnish on the score line. Okay, and then the one that's a little fiddly, just going to fold it on your score line. Make sure you're matching up as you pull it around. And then give it as good a burnish as you can. There we go. Okay. All right. So there is your hinge. I'm so sorry. But I want this bottom part that's going to show. I want it covered. So you see here I put my lace, and there we go. Make sure I got it right side up. I'm using my Fabri-Tac from Beacon. You can get this at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's. I'm pretty sure Walmart carries it. And actually, like, Michael's at Joann's or Hobby Lobby, when you get the coupons, it's cheaper there, but I think it's fairly inexpensive at Hobby Lobby's. I think is, no, this is all Fabri-Tac. Hobby Lobby's says something different, but it's the same thing. They just call it, it's still from Beacon, but I can't remember what it's called. If one of you guys know, if you would put it on a comment so everybody could see, because I know for a while I was confused and thought that it was something different, so I didn't buy it. But as far as I can tell, because I did end up buying it one time, and as far as I could tell, usually I don't get to Hobby Lobby that often, so I wasn't going to use my coupon for glue. I wanted something else. So, but yeah. And you don't get coupons at Hobby Lobby like you do at Joann's and Michael's, so. Alright, so there's the one side. And you see I am actually using quite a bit of the Fabri-Tac. But then I'm just kind of lightly pushing it down into the Fabri-Tac. But I want it doesn't get too much wear and tear there. So, you don't have to worry about it too much, but I do want it to stay down. So I'm just kind of coating inside the score lines, staying a bit away from each of the score lines. Just kind of trying to get that. Okay, this side right here. And this is a 1/2 inch, and this is 1/2 inch ribbon. So it is kind of covering the score line, this middle score line, just ever so slightly. But I'm keeping it out of these two back end score lines. And I'm not stretching it, I'm just laying it down, and again lightly pushing. Okay, I think it just adds a little nicety on there. Okay, so now flip them over. I'm going to go ahead and let this one dry and go ahead and work on this one. We're going to flip them over and get your score tape out again. And the middle score line that we scored, on either side of that, you want to put score tape. All right. And on this one, if you have your 1/4 inch score tape or 1/8 inch score tape, you can use that on this 1/4 inch one. And then on this side, you can use your 1/2 inch 3/8 or whatever you may have. So, I'm actually not going to put it on this side of the score line. I'm going to put it down on the bottom one. So and for me, I'm going to have to pull the other one up and then replace it. So okay, and then burnish down, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this because this is a full 1/2 inch strip. I'll pull this up, and then I'm going to lay it back down on the part that doesn't have so it's all covered. And now I'm going to burnish that all down. Okay, anything hanging over, make sure you cut it off. A little bit here. Oh, there we go. And a little bit there. Okay, and actually, oh no, that's the paper. I was like, actually, I got a big old piece right here, but that's just the backing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take the backing off of the two that we just laid down. There we go. And we are going to get some glue and put it on the two that we didn't put score tape on. So you've got the glue and the score tape to work. So now I'm going to fold these together, and I will take this off just for a minute, but I'm going to see, you won't have this problem because you won't have anything on that yet. And I'm just going to pinch these together. And now I'm going to put the score tape back on here until we put it in the book, so I don't stick everything to it, including myself. There we go. Okay. And now, make sure I've got that all the way, because now I want to burnish this as best I can with my lace on there. Get that glue moved around. And it's coming out. That is a good thing. Just means you've got it all the way to the ends. Okay, good. Now, from your score line, on the top of your score line, you will put your scissors on the top of the score line and take off a little bit. Can you see that? You're just going to take off a little bit, but you're going to leave the entire score line intact. All right? So you're going from the top of the score line and taking off a little bit. And that is ready to go in the book. You can put another piece of score tape here, but I think I'm going to put a lot of glue along there, so I will have the score tape and the glue working for me. Okay, got a little glue on my work surface. Okay, so we're going to do that again. And this time I'm going to put... Now, this is nothing you have to worry about. This is just because I put score tape on there already. But we're going to put on the center score mark, we're going to put score tape on one side of that. And then on the other side, we're going to skip this 1/2 inch and go to the next 1/2 inch, and we'll put score tape on that. And just stay within the score lines, and you will be just fine. I love making pretty stuff. And this actually, putting them together and figuring out new ways of putting them together, that is what excites me. If I could hand it off and let somebody else decorate it, although I do like doing that, but if I had if I only could do one or the other, it would definitely be, I would want to design them. I like doing that stuff. Okay, now again, before I close this, I'm just going to pull this off and reapply it, if I can, to the 1/4 inch piece here. Wah! Oh, bring it down a little bit. And you always want to try and keep your fingers off your score tape. You always want to have clean hands when you're working with your score tape. Okay, and since I already put my glue down and didn't pull my score tape off, I will. Okay, and that is hanging over just a smidge. You can fold it back on itself too if you prefer that to getting your scissors out. Okay, so we're going to close this down. Good, and then let's burnish. So that everything is getting smushed around. There we go. Okay. All right. So these two are ready to go into the book. And this is another reason that I went ahead and decorated this while I still had flat paper. It's just a lot easier to work with than having to now try and decorate it or even get it into the book and try and decorate it. Yeah. Now this is really going to help sturdy up. Apparently my chain is not working my tape is not working very well. Okay, so I have this side as my top side and this side as my bottom side. So when you open it up and then you open it up, then I want this side to open up first again. So I am going to put the 3/4 of an inch towards the back cover on my right hand side, and that will, it looks like I'm going to have to cut this down just a smidge. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to take just a little sliver off the 3/4 inch side so that I'm not into my, well, that was good, so that I'm not into my score line quite as much as I am. So we want this a little shorter than 3 inches. And you know, when I was cutting it, I said to myself, you know, I should make this a little shorter than 3 inches. So make your white paper 2 3/4 inches and make your purple paper 2 7/8. Because I barely took off an 8, and I believe that's going to get me where I want to be. Yep. That is good, because I want it to be supportive, so I do want it to totally fold around and hold the paper up. Yes, so we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the score tape off. Score tape backing off. Remember now, the 3/4 of an inch, or whatever it is now, is going towards the back of the book on the right hand side. I'm going to get my glue. All the way, everywhere. Okay. Now, remember, this is a quarter of an inch shorter. So you want 1/8 of an inch at the top and 1/8 of an inch at the bottom. And then you want them right smack dab in the middle between the two score lines. Do, 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 do. I believe I have it. Okay, so burnish that down really well. And I didn't do very well at getting the 1/8 of an inch on the top and the bottom, but I am going to leave it. And we'll come up with a cute something or other that I will stick there that will make everybody ooh and ah. Okay. And I am super happy that I've got glue coming out because I want to make sure that this is really stuck down well. All right. Okay, so there's the first one. And that really helps make this feel a little more substantial already. Okay, and now on the left-hand side, you're going to have the 1/4 of an inch towards the inside of the book. And that way, you'll have 3/4 of an inch towards your front page. Or the top, your flap. Okay, so let's take off our backing. Now, if you're using maybe paper with decoration on it, just realize that one of them is going 1/4 inch up and one of them is going 1/4 inch down, so that if you have a paper that has a pattern to it, that there is going to be a difference in the way they go on. So then one of your patterns would be upside down, and that would probably not make you very happy. All right. Oh shoot, I didn't cut it down. Let me see if I need to. Yeah, I probably do need to take off just not quite as much on this side. Stop. I have to get just the little slight edge of that up into the glue, into the tape. And so it is fiddly. And then I'm trying not to stick everything down on top of each other because I forgot. But you know what? It's okay. Because I'm having fun. This is so relaxing to me. Even a mistake is relaxing. Okay. And there are only opportunities to make things better. They're not mistakes. Hey, now you, I don't want on there. I have little hanger-oners. Okay, that's good. All right, so remember, the 1/4 inch goes down on the left-hand side, goes towards the bottom. And let's see, I'm going to do the same so that I have my top and the bottom looking the same. So I'm going to pull this down like I did. And I would say follow along on the folded side, so your flap side, and then let the other side just fall where it may, as long as it's a little shorter. And just because you want to get right to that score line so that it gets some support. And I think, yeah, that's perfect. Okay. That's perfect. So let's get, and I don't want to fold this over just yet because it's not dry. And you'll start pulling it. So let's just get it burnished down. That's fine. Let's just get it burnished down. Get that glue moved around. And I am putting some good force on this. All right. Okay, now we'll let those dry. But this way, when we go to open it up, that will be your first page, and you will have 3/4 of an inch, well, 1/2 an inch really, because you have 1/4 of an inch here for this page to have some goodies on the inside. You're not going to be able to put anything on this flap of much other than just some paper. And then this side, we're not going to put anything but paper except for this area here where we're not going to have this part. So this area here will get some fun stuff. But other than that, it's going to have to be flat. But then you have 1/4 of an inch to play here. You have 1/2 an inch for this page to lay down in between this page and your next page. And then this page has the same, you know, there's 1/2 an inch between these two. And then you have 1/4 of an inch here. And then we have our spacing. Okay? So, but, oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't cut my little corners off. So, just from the top of the score line, take a little bit off. It's easier if you do it before you put it on, but if you've already put it on, don't worry about it. Just cut them off. There we go. Okay, now this is solid core paper, which means there's no white in the center. If you have white and that bothers you, you may want to distress. I think I'm going to hold off distressing until I start getting into the decorating. I'm just going to do building right now. All right, so now that I have these in, because I didn't want to do it until after I knew that they were exactly in the same spaces. You know, they weren't going to be moving around too much. And it doesn't really matter from one side to the next. It's just stationary for me to go ahead and play with. I am going to cut these because I actually want to have more than one page on this hinge. This is where those envelopes are going to come in. But the envelopes are not, see, this one is, the envelopes are not as long as this is. So I'm going to come down about an inch. Make sure you can see me. I'm going to come down about an inch and cut about an inch, maybe 1.5 inches, and cut, and then come up an inch and cut, and then about 1.5 inches from that and cut. And then hopefully you will be able to see what I'm doing as we move along. So let's get ourselves a little ruler or big ruler. And I think now, let's see, I put this one on first. I'm going to go ahead and burnish this so it will lay down nicely, because I think this one is ready. It feels like it's stuck on there very well, because we do want this to lay over both sides very nicely. And you can do this before you glue it on, but because I had that extra score tape, I just waited until now. Okay, so I'm laying this down. I'm getting my ruler, and I'm going from the very end, not the cut end. I'm going to go in, let's do 1.5 inches. About 1.5 inches. I mean, it doesn't have to be exact. And I'm going to put a line. And then from that line, I'm going to do 1.5 inches. excuse me, or so. Okay. And then I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing on this side. Inch and a half, make a line. Inch and a half, make a line. Okay. I don't know why I didn't do this side. You really want to make sure your lace is dry before you do this, because that might be hazardous to your design. Okay, so again, and you're not going to, if these are off a little bit, you're not going to be able to notice it much, if at all. So it's again, just so I'm sharing the wealth. Oh, now look, my little spacer paper came out. Yeah, it is going to be easy to... There. Okay. Where was I? Here. And I put my ruler right here. Okay, so... inch and a half. Make a mark, an inch and a half, make a mark. Okay, put all my accoutrements back where they belong so I know where they are, because boy, I've got so much on my desk that's not even funny. Okay, if your scissors cut well with the tip, and I'm just not sure about this. Let me see. If I fold this, no, these don't cut very well for a thick paper at the tip. So let's see how my Timmy does. Oh yeah. Okay, so you want to go down all the way to the score line when you cut these. So let's do this one first. And my score line is just below the lace, or just, I'm gonna, and this is the side that, yeah, there it is. So you just want to go straight down and get it all the way to the score line. There we go. Don't want to cut the lace. Okay, so now we have this piece, this piece, and this piece, and this piece, and this piece. All right? Now we're not using them like that. I'm just showing you that now we have multiple pieces to work with. We are going to use these 3 pieces for one item, and these 2 pieces are actually going to be for the envelope, because the envelope is just not going to be carrying as much. So as long as I got it as wide as I could, well, I guess my spacer paper just does not want to stay in, which is fine, because all I needed it for was to make sure I'd be able to that I'd be able to get something in between there. Okay, so let's do this side. Move your lace out of the way and just cut down through the score line. Try not to go any farther. There we go. my hands are... I have arthritis in both my thumbs. I have been a bookkeeper most of my working career, and so a lot of data entry, and I have not great right in here. Both my thumbs, just killer. So some days it's a little hard, but you know what? I just get so much enjoyment out of it. I just deal. What the heck? Gonna hurt anyway, so why not enjoy myself? Okay, so there we go. That part is raring to go. All right, guys, I'm going to stop it here, and we will move on to the next section. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. Get your stuff out, get it started, get all your goodies together, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Bye.